We started the Wave Report back in October of 2018. It's interesting to witness how far a simple idea can go. The podcast evolved into something bigger than any of us ever expected. It corralled people into thinking, laughing, and enjoying our content with us while we created it. Our episodes touched so many people who watched every week, and for that, we are forever grateful. Jonah and Joe were the leaders who were both charismatic, ambitious, and innovative. Jonah had the vision. He could always see things that we couldn't. Joe had the maniacal work ethic. He recorded and edited everything by himself for a good 60 to 70 episodes. Me, I was the consistency. Whenever Jonah was on the road or Joe couldn't make it, I was the one who kept it going. I was there for every single episode except for 2. And even those 2, I was still physically present, but decided not to be on camera to give the viewer a break. We balanced each other, and the podcast would not have made it this far if it weren't for them. Then, of course, life intervened. Jonah left for his own personal reasons, and Joe moved to the West Coast.
Lost my homie Tate for a couple years. Had to hear it from his mama through a
leaving me with a
tears.
decision to continue the podcast or to quit altogether. By this time, my brother Patrick had hopped aboard to help produce the episodes. But could I really carry a podcast by myself? What would I even talk about? What guests would I have? With the blessing of my 2 former co-hosts, I decided to continue. Tremonte and Friends was born almost out of necessity. I can say with a pure heart that I truly enjoyed every guest that I've had. There were some sad but deeply moving moments on Tremonte and Friends. There were some hilarious and wild times as well. Y'all know me. My experience were philosophical, enlightening, shocking, compassionate, and loving. The scope of the human emotional palette was truly explored. We learned from each other, hopefully gaining understanding and empathy. And we also realized that within, many of us are the same. Searching, failing, trying our best to figure out life and remain sane through what seems chaotic at times. But at least we have each other. The societal divisiveness today would have you believe otherwise, but my statement remains true. Intelligence itself is not a means to an end. It should be used to inspire, uplift, and improve things for the future. We often get in our own way in life, holding ourselves back out of fear, letting our past dictate what lies ahead, and not fully believing in the power we have to change and to change others. Although the podcast has come to a close, I did not take any of you who came to share your stories, ideas, and overall vulnerability with me for granted. You are why I continued in the first place. It goes to show how simple conversations can be so impactful and provide us with an outlet or an invitation into one another's soul.
Tremonte, the king. Man, this dude right here is like so inspirational. I remember when we first started the Wave Report podcast.
What's going on, man? It's your guy, Joe. Just thinking about the Wave Report and thinking about the Tremonte and Friends podcast. Man, a lot of pain, a lot of work put in, a lot of grind, a lot of endless nights, sleepless nights, just thinking about how we're going to make sure everybody gets the content and making sure that everybody was happy with the product and the content that we were given. And it's not even a goodbye for me. It's a job accomplished.
Hello, Monte. This is your mom. Just want to tell you thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. I appreciate you very much, and I love you. Always remember where you came from, which is the hood. And also, remember, nobody can fuck with you.
What up, Tremonte? It's A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez. I just want to start off by saying, first off, you ain't shit. Something you tell me all the time. But in all positivity, just want to congratulate you on the podcast. Having great guests on there, allowing me to come on there and talk about different topics, and really letting your viewers hear different perspectives from different people. But as you know, all good things come to an end. You had a great run, and I wish you the best in all your endeavors.
What's good, King? This Bam, your mud brother. It's been an honor watching you grow and evolve. So I'm confident that as you transition to greater heights, you'll only get better and more refined. Stay solid, King. Love.
It's your brother Corey. I hate to see you go, man, but I know it's a great opportunities on the horizon. Just remember, do not wait for a coronation. The greatest emperors crown themselves.
This D, bro. Hey, man, keep pushing. Remember, there's no ceilings. Just keep on your grind, man. Stay focused. Tunnel vision, bro.
Tremonte and friends.
This Des Green, man.
We're different.
Hey, whatever you hear in the background, don't mind that. But look, man, I had a hell of a time on the podcast. That shit was fun as fuck. I'm glad to see you grow, my brother. Do your thing. You inspired a lot of people. You helped a lot of people. But it's time to move on to bigger and better things, my nigga.
Yo, what the fuck is going on, man? It's the Young King, Irby. I just came to step in to say farewell. Probably one of the realest things on the internet.
This Jimbo, you know what I'm saying? Both for the hang that thing go. One thing about it though, boy, you said you was gonna do it, and you did that shit. Anybody listening to this motherfucker, if that nigga say he gonna do something, he gonna do that shit. That shit done. But yeah, man, more success to you, dog. You know, we go way back, you know. Years, nigga. Brothers. Blood, nigga. I'll stand over a nigga 1,000 times for you, boy. You know that. I talk point blank range 1,000 times for my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Proud of you, boy. My boy going after everything he said he was gonna do. And he's standing on that shit. My motherfucking brother from Bristol Bay. Bruh, niggas was fucked up. Niggas be out here acting like they ain't never been fucked up before. Man, nigga, we was fucked up, my nigga. Do you understand? We was fucked up out here. Look at us now, though. Came a long way, my boy. I'm proud of you. I know you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Congrats on the podcast. Y'all did y'all thing. And then you branched off, did your thing. You know, you said you was going to do that. You did that. But yeah, man. You know I love you, nigga. Stand over a nigga 1,000 times, bro. I can't say it enough. I'm talking about bitch. About my thing. About little bro. Nah, you big bro. But about little bro. Man, y'all niggas crazy as fuck. But yeah, man. You get more retarded ass off this bitch. You know how I am. I'm gone, man. Love.
Hey, what's going on, bro? This Kenneth, man. Just want to let you know I'm proud of you from what you come from to where you at now. I'm also proud of the things you're about to do.
Hello, everyone. This is Martin Glee Nelson. And I remember when Tremonte first told me that he was going to start the Wave Report, which then later became Tremonte and Friends. I had no doubt in his initiative because I know he's one person that once he puts his mind to something, he's going to get it done.
Yo, this Jamal, a.k.a. Murray Don. Tremonte, I just want to say I'm proud of you and love you. You had a hell of a run with your podcast, man. Now you're moving on to bigger and better things.
Hey, Tremonte, it's Paul, or Sherman from the Sherman Show. Listen, man, it's one of those things where it's like, it's sad that it's coming to an end. But you were able to impact so many people with this journey, and people that have you in their life, it's truly a blessing to be able to know you. It's a privilege.
Hey, this your girl Queen. I have a quote from MLK, and it says, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward.
Yo, this is your big brother Shawn, aka Big Teddy. Don't get it twisted. Look, we done been from the bottom I'm talking about sleeping on floors, working temp jobs, to look at where we at now, bro. Elevation. We've been doing it. It's gonna continue. I love you, bro. Let's keep this thing rolling.
Yo, what it is, Brit? It's Brassy. It's Brassy. Anyways, man, it's Shawn. I appreciate the opportunity coming on, you know what I'm saying, from the jump, whether it be the Wave Report, Tremonte and Friends. It's been a pleasure. Love you always. Stay safe, y'all. Stay healthy out there. Stay strapped. You know what I'm saying? Black Lives Matter, all that good stuff like that. I'm rolling up right now. God blessings and love you. Keep going in your future endeavors.
Hey brother, this is Tyler. Just want to let you know that while I'm certainly sad to see the podcast go, I am anxiously awaiting whatever is coming up next, because for you, I feel like greatness is an inevitability.
Yo, this is Tremonte Relford. Y'all know me, Tremonte and Friends, Wave Report, your neighborhood Facebook troll. That's me. I want to tell y'all thank you. This is my official last video relevant to the podcast. The plan was always to kind of shut it down this year or the beginning of next year. Shout out to Patrick, helped out a lot. My brother, man, he just had a kid, him and my sister Sarita. So they're on another journey, blessed. And I know you probably thought this may be like a little impulsive to shut down the pod, but this is always the plan again. So I'm making this video as like an individual thank you. I reached out to some of my close brothers to send me an audio, because I told them I was shutting down the podcast, and most of them sent me an audio. I think with the exception of two, and they probably forgot. But I'm gonna try to make this kind of humorous and serious at the same time by going through each of them individually and telling them thank you and kind of highlighting a story that accentuates who they are. So the first person I'm gonna start with is Jonah. So throughout the Wave Report, I've kind of referenced how I came to the podcast. So originally it was Jonah's idea, and then he pulled Joe in, and then he called me, and it didn't take 5 minutes for him to convince me to do a podcast. We had done something prior to, and it went well, so I think he thought it was a good fit. I remember talking to Jonah like in the middle of recording. It was probably like in the 40s or something episodes. And Jonah's like the ultimate visionary. But he said something to me that always stuck with me. And he was like, when you're working together as a team, he said, don't forget about your individuality. A lot of times when you work in groups, you compromise a lot and you sacrifice for the betterment of the group. But Jonah, he's not like always with that. And he tried to explain to me, he was like, man, it's not a bad thing to look out for yourself at times, because you never know with groups. And historically, he's correct. But I never seen it from his perspective until he like kind of sat me down and told me. And that stick with me to this day. Whenever I'm working in groups, you don't sacrifice all of you because if the group don't work out, then you've emptied yourself for no reason. You do want to do it in a healthy way. And Jonah is like a person who doesn't compromise his values and his integrity. So that's my boy Jonah. The next person I'll talk about is Joe. So Joe, this nigga Joe, man. Joe, first of all, Joe's hip hop takes are, but I don't think I've met many people. I consider myself a hard worker. Joe probably works harder than me. When we first started the podcast, Joe was editing the podcast, he was recording it and getting it out every week by himself, on top of working, on top of being married, on top of being a great father to his autistic son, on top of like personal stuff with his faith, with branding, with battling, making music. He was doing it all. And his work ethic speaks like for itself. I've seen Joe, some of his lowest moments and some of his best moments. And he's helped me and my wife out with merch. He's done a bunch, man. And I always appreciate Joe. I could call Joe right now for something, he'll give it to me. So that's my brother, him and Jonah. They brought me in to the Wave Report to start it. You know, I was blessed enough to carry it on. And that's Joe. This is Joe, hard worker. Who next? Who next up? You can just say the name. Irby. Let me tell you a story, man. So, Irby, when I first started working at my current job, I ain't gonna say the name. Irby, like, was in my training class along with Dana, who I'll talk about later. Irby was in my training class, and you know when you like working and you're in training and they kind of group you with people to get to know each other. I was first grouped with Irby, and you know, none of us know each other, right? It's like a small group of 10. And Irby, you know, we went around like, where do you work before this? Irby says, at the time Irby's 18, like 18 years old. So I'm like, yeah, where'd you work before we worked here? Irby says, I'm the manager at Publix. I'm like, hold the fuck on, man. I'm like, hold up. You what? And he's like, I'm the manager at Publix. I'm like, no, you gotta be trolling. Not at 18, no way. But he was right. And to further the point, even though we were starting a new job, Irby was still the manager at Publix, like part-time. So when he would leave Capital One, or days he wouldn't work at Capital One, I said the name. Days he wouldn't work at Capital One, he would still be the manager at Publix. He worked there for like a few more months afterwards. And then Irby, from there, we just formed a bond, started hanging out, did some stuff for Irby I'd never done for anybody. And you know, when you have young people as ambitious as Irby, you tend to think, man, they got a lot to learn. But I don't see Irby like that. You know, Irby is wise beyond his years, and he always notices what's going on. He kind of like me in that way. Like, he'll laugh with you, but he knows what's going on. So shout out to Irby, and thank you for your audio message. Who next?
Jimbo.
Everybody has that person in their family, close friend, that is just not all there. Jimbo is that person. Ever since I met Jimbo, he always acts like he's the big brother, even though he's not. So the story I got for Jimbo, this is how much Jimbo like tries to protect me. I think we were like 19, so I stayed, this is like post high school, I stayed on a dead end street. So it's one way in, one way out. And I had like this gathering that turned into like a party, because this is Remus's fault. His name on Facebook is RJ Jones. It's his fault. So I was like, hey man, invite some people. So I invited, you know, the typical Shawn, Jimbo, Shawn was there. And all these people pulled up, which is more than I anticipated. So when you're on a dead end street and you got a bunch of people pull up to one house, they're blocking the entrance to the street. And then they're blocking the driveway of the residents. So if the residents are coming in, they can't go on their own driveway because the street is flooded with cars. So I'm outside, right? This at night. And I'm like, Remus, why you invite all these people? I don't even know them. So I'm trying to maneuver like, hey, go park over there. Go park over there. You can't block their house. Like, but nobody was listening to me. And I'm not going to yell. So Jimbo was there and he seen all this going on, right? So Jimbo like, he comes up to me like quietly. And he says, hey Monte, I can clear all this shit out right now. Just give me the word. And I'm like, what you mean? And he was like, man, nah, you trying to do right. They ain't listening to you. He was like, give me the word. He was like, I'll fade any one of these dudes for you right now. He said, you know how I get down. Just give me the word. And I'm like, nah. And it was really Remus's fault. So I said to highlight Jimbo, if I can call Jimbo in the middle of the night, it could be something small. Jimbo is always ready to go all the way for me. And I appreciate the love. He got a anger issue that he working on, but there's never been a time where me and Jimbo been in the same spot and I was ever like concerned or anything. Probably concerned for other people's safety, but Jimbo will always ride for me. So thank you for your message as well.
Remus Sharon.
Remus was who I was just talking about. Remus, I'm proud of Remus, man. He, you know, being adopted and going through everything he's been through, Having to do a lot on his own at a young age, in the position he is at his job. He's always been a great father, terrific father. You know what I mean? A+, going through relationship issues, working on himself. And he's always been like a low profile guy. He's not like an attention seeker or look at me type guy. The story I told about Jimbo, Remus, this is your fault. That was your fault. I'm not taking no responsibility for that. But I ain't got nothing but good things to say about Remus, man. And Remus got my back too. You know, I asked him for something, he'll give it to me, and vice versa. So thank you for your message, Remus. And you said Sharon.
No, that was Remus Sharon. That's what you got it together.
Nah, Sharon. I messed up. Sharon. Between the age of 16 and 22, you didn't see me without Jimbo or Sharon. You probably never seen me without Sharon between 16 and 22. Sharon is like, well, I consider everybody my brother. Sharon's probably, him or Jimbo probably the closest to me. I can't tell like a lot of stories about Sharon because we got so many stories together, and then a lot of it like involves like criminal activity, so I can't really say too much, especially about him because he was involved in a bunch of stuff. But I will say Sharon was one of the first people, if not the first person, to kind of get me to like speak up more. I always spoke. People had this perception of me when they first meet me that I'm like quiet, but I'm just observant. And then once I kind of warm up to people, I'll, you know, open up. But Sharon, he kind of seen early on, he was like, man, you smart, you got a lot to say. He's like, man, you got to speak up more. He's like, you got a bunch of stupid people talking. He was like, you got to speak. So he kind of got me out of that. And Sharon introduced me to my now wife back in high school. So little did we know, we were friends back then, me and my wife. But Sharon introduced us. So he is kind of the reason we got married. So I got to get that to Sharon. So shout out to my brother, man. And if you got a problem with Sharon, then unfortunately you have a problem with me and Jimbo and Remus. And I can't do nothing for you. Shawn, if there's a definition of loyalty, Shawn's picture should be there. Shawn is, when I didn't have anything, Shawn was there. When I was signing up for school, when I needed to be drove around, I ain't had no car, I was catching a bus, Shawn would drive me everywhere. He would charge me any gas. Me and Shawn, as he mentioned, slept on the floor together, was working a bunch of temp jobs together. We got a bunch of funny stories about temp job work. Shawn introduced me to his family, and Shawn always supported me. Even though I ain't seen Shawn in a while, I think the last time I seen Shawn, he gonna probably think I'm lying about the last time I seen him. I was on a binge of selling a bunch of guns I had, and Shawn bought one. He came to my crib. So I think that's the last time I seen Shawn. But we always kept in contact. And I remember when I was catching a bus to go to ACC Dale Mabry campus, Shawn would be on the bus too with me. Shawn kind of got like that. He like Jimbo in a way, like he not gonna let nothing happen to me. But he's like, you know, a bigger brother I never had, man. And I love him to death. And I'm gonna get with you soon, man. For sure.
Corey Ward.
So a lot of people know that Corey Ward was the first person to get me to go to school when I was like 22, 23. I was walking around Bristol Bay at night, kind of like self-reflecting. And I would always see this dude walking around the opposite direction. So I'm like, who is this dude walking around the same time I'm walking around at night? And me, I'm not shy. So after like the first 2-3 times, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Like, we'll intersect. So we walk by each other like a little bit, and then we'll intersect. I'm like, hey, man, what's up, man? Why you, like, you following me? And he was like, he laughed it off, and then we started talking, exchanged numbers. And little did I know his situation at the time, this was like 2009, 2010, I think. His situation at the time was very similar to mine. Corey Ward was staying with his aunt. I was staying with my aunt. Him and his mom weren't on the best of terms. Me and my mom weren't on the best of terms. And we had similar interests. And I remember him saying, hey man, you need to start going to school. Look at me now. But at the time I was like, I'm not going to school, man. It's like, oh, school's boring. I'm not going to school. And he said, what else are you doing? At the time, I wasn't doing anything. He was like, I'm going to help you get into school. And from there, as you can see, I've been in there ever since. Every year since he told me to get in school, I've been in school without a break. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten this far. Shout out to Corey Ward. And if you got a problem with Corey Ward, I can't help you, man, because I'm involved. Who the next person?
Dez.
Let me tell you how I met Dez. Again, Remus. We were playing flag football, I think 2017, 2018. And Remus invite a bunch of people out. And Dez came out. Never knew who Dez was. And he came out. And you know how you meet someone and they just genuinely cool as soon as you meet them? That was Dez. And Dez always stayed himself. He loved sports, loved anime, loved film. He loved talking trash. And that's how me and Dez bonded. And then from there, we just kept in contact. He really into college football. We kept in contact and had him on a podcast. He had a blast. And then Dez runs his own company. And I was fortunate enough to be at a couple of events that he had. He had one event, he was in the Apple store in International Mall. And I remember I went, I was like, how the fuck you get in here? But he a grinder. He a grinder, man. And I always support my brother Dez, man. And thank you for coming on. Thank you for the audio.
Paul.
So, at my job, when I was in training, Paul was my trainer. In the episode with me and Paul, Follow the Sherman Show, episode with me and Paul, he I kind of directly referenced how he kept me and Irby out of trouble, because me and Irby were grouped together, as I mentioned, and Paul was a trainer. He was one of the best people there working, and we always be on our phones like anybody. And when Paul would pull us into the room and listen to our calls, he'd be like, man, I see y'all on y'all phones. He's like, I be on mine too, but during training they'd be strict on it. So he was like, put it away, and he was like, I'll tell you when you can pull it out. And he didn't have to do that. So right then I kind of know, oh, he cool, he kind of looking out for us. Because in training, I had some people in training was like, man, we're going to write you up or whatever. But Paul wasn't like that. And then when we got on the floor, Paul would sacrifice his time being on the phone to come over and help me and ask me if I needed anything. And I knew Paul, man. Paul, really funny dude, very creative. But I knew there was something in him that he was kind of holding back. Paul, I always felt sometimes he would hold himself back to kind of fit in with everybody. But he don't fit in. He is somebody like Irby, a lot of ambition. He has a lot of compassion for people. And Paul is always positive. Never seen Paul negative a day in my life when I was working with him, and I've seen him every day. Never. Even when things didn't go his way, he will never show it, man. And you need people like that in the workplace. Paul is a real one. He's a real one. So shout out to you, Paul. Again, Follow the Sherman Show. That's my brother, man. Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you. Bam. So I got a episode with Bam too on the podcast. Bam, if you see how I operate, low key, how I pop out and I disappear, I be MIA. I get that from him. I get that from him growing up in the projects, man. He I kind of modeled everything after him because I watch him. I used to watch him. And he was his own man. He taught me the bus route. And I remember, I referenced this on the episode. I remember walking, because Bam stayed in Central Park, which is right next to Tampa Park. So one night we were staying at ET House, which is every night. And he was like, hey man, walk with me to the crib to get some clothes. And I would walk with him, and I remember he was just streamlined focused. He ain't say nothing to nobody. He went in his house. He told his mom and his sister, I love you. He packed some clothes, 5 minutes, and we left and we walked back to where I lived. And I never forget that. It was something so simple, but just how he moved as a man, as a young man at the time, we were teenagers. I'm like, he's ahead of his time. And he always minded his own business. And I kind of stick to that same routine today. So Thank you, Bam, man. And you know you like my big brother. Bam also came to my graduation. Low key too. He showed me he was in the crowd and he was like, keep going, and he left. I didn't get to see him, but he was there. And it don't get no realer than that, man. He'll support me at every level. So shout out to Bam, man. My mud brother. Yeah. Dana. This is probably like one of the funniest stories with Dana. Dana probably like, man, don't say too much, man. So Dana, when we were in training, again, Dana was one of the people who was in training. Me, Irby, there was a few of us, right? So training was like 6 to 8 weeks. For like the first 5 weeks, Dana didn't speak to anybody. Like he didn't speak to really nobody in the class. And so you kind of click up when you're in training. So it got to the point where everybody started being cool, so we would go on lunch together. And everybody would go on lunch with each other but Dana. Like Dana would like go get his lunch and then go eat by himself. And it got to the point some people was like, what's up with him? And me, I'm like, man, he don't fuck with us, man. Like, he don't fuck with us, he don't like us. Long story short, when we got to the production floor, they put me and Dana on the same team. In retrospect, this wasn't a good idea. And then they sat me right behind him. So if I spun around my chair, Dana was right there. Man, they split us up, man. They split us up. They split our whole team up. We had so much fun like every day. And then me and Dana worked the late shift. So I worked from 1 to 10 and Dana worked from 3 to midnight. So imagine us wilding the whole time. Like from that time to the nighttime, where, you know, most of the people gone. Then we had a manager, shout out to Dre, a real one. He was like down to earth and he was like a people person. So he would let us do whatever we wanted as long as we got our work done. Me and Dana was wilding, and then I got to know Dana. He was a Virgo like me, so I understood why he was like observant. He didn't say too much. And one thing I respect highly about Dana, in my life, I don't think I've met a more intensely focused person. Dana has a regimen. He has a routine. He's a gym rat. You know, he stays in the gym. He's about his health. I seen this nigga one time eating seaweed. I'm like, man, you taking this too far, man. But that's how dedicated he is to his craft. If you try to intervene with his gym routine, with him making his money and taking care of his business, Dana won't talk to you. He won't talk to you, man. He probably cut me off a few times. He will not talk to you. As somebody like me, I'm a troll, so I entertain people for a little bit. Dana's just not going to talk to you. And I was surprised he even sent me audio. I was like, he ain't going to send it, man. But Dana he always been my big brother. Dana saved me a lot of times from like probably getting fired. When he would hear me on the phone, kind of raising my voice, because Dana worked in customer service for like 10 years, over 10 years, I think. He was like, hey man, you can't talk to the customers like that. He'd be like, hey T, calm down. T, you can't say that. Don't say that. We'll be in team meetings. I'm like, man, I'm about to say something. Y'all know me, I don't have no filter. He'd be like, hey, don't say it. And you need that type of wise counsel with you. And Dana, my brother, man, we hung out. But again, like even when I'm trying to hang out with Dana, if he got something going on, I'm like, no. And I respect it, man. My Virgo brother, forever. Who next up, man? I'm just running through these people, man. Tyler. Dang, this is probably a funnier story. So Tyler, I started going to school per Corey Ward. I started going to school the end of 2010, so the fall of 2010 from August to December. And the first class I took was a psychology course at HCC Ybor. And the whole class, Tyler was in the class. He sat 3 rows ahead of me to the left, if you're looking this way at the professor. He didn't say anything to anybody, not me, nobody. So he was in the class, but he just didn't speak to anybody. I'm like, this guy's a devil worshiper. He wore all black. He don't care about anybody. He probably killed me. Like, I ain't gonna say nothing to him, make him upset. So from August to September, Tyler didn't speak to nobody, passed the class, whatever. The following year, 2011, fall semester, I have a philosophy class. Tyler's in the class. Mind you, I still don't know who he is. He don't speak to nobody. I think he in like a cult or something, right? So this one particular day in philosophy class, and in this class, Tyler sat right in front of me. I was having a philosophical debate with this one dude. Tyler, if you're watching this, it's probably that dude who always thought he was right. Fuck him. He thought he was right all the time. He was annoying the whole class. I was having a debate with him about like choice, about the freedom of choice. And the dude was saying like you don't really have like choice in life. Like everything's kind of predetermined anyway. And I was in my thinking, I was like, nah, it's not really true. Tyler decides for the first time ever, speaking to any a human being, he turns around and he sides with the annoying dude. So I'm not so much thrown off as to what Tyler's saying. I'm surprised that he's talking at all. And he was like, nah, you don't really have a choice. So me, I'm gonna stand my ground. I'm like, first of all, weird guy. In my mind, I'm like, nah, you got a choice or whatever. So we had like a little debate. Class started, right? So we leave in class. This is the same day. And I hear a voice that says, hey. And I turn around and it's him. So I'm like a little scared. And he says, Tyler says, hey, you want to go get some coffee? Again, this is his first time talking to me. I said, you can ask Tyler, verify this. I looked at Tyler and said, nah, I'm good. You're not about to kill me. You're not about to kidnap me in broad day. I'm like, nah, I'm good. But he started laughing and he convinced me to go get coffee with him. And from that day of getting coffee with him, we formed like this unbreakable relationship, man, of brothers. He invited me to his house. I met some of his family. Tyler used to work at the movies in Ybor when it was popping. Tyler was a bartender. He got me and Lisa in for free, see a bunch of movies. And when we both transitioned to USF, I had night classes and Tyler had like evening classes. So when I was coming on campus, Tyler was leaving campus. And we would talk for like a quick 10 to 15 minutes. And Tyler has encouraged me and inspired me in so many ways, man. And you talking about somebody who's been to hell and back, that's him. Everybody I'm talking about has been through a lot. So you never want to assume too much about people before you get to know them. And Tyler's one of those people. And we still have those philosophical debates till today. So love you, Tyler. I love all y'all that I'm talking about, man. Who next, man?
Alex.
Alex is stupid, man. In high school, Alex was like my main man. One of them. He was like my main man. Alex is a versatile guy. He knows about economics, politics, philosophy, history, sports, whatever you name it, he can converse about it. And Alex, I think Alex would probably correct me, man. I seen Alex like 2015, and he took me to like this Spanish or Colombian spot to eat. And then after that, I ain't talked to him until the beginning of this year when he came on for the episode. Alex be everywhere at once, man. When I be talking to him, he's like stream of conscious. He's always doing something. He's never idle. But I think that works for him, the type of person he is. And I always love Alex. He's always fly. He always had the most kicks and stuff. And he always stayed true to his identity. And I'm glad we still connected, man. So thank you, Alex. He's still stupid, man. No, thank you, man. Kenny, man. Kenny was another one of my main. Probably might have been closer than Alex. In high school, I went to a high school where a lot of the kids at the time, well, one of the high schools, the first high school I went to, were like military kids. So I would be on base all the time, off McDill. Kenny introduced, shout out to Jamal, shout out to their mom, shout out to Kenny's sister. Kenny, man, like brought me in as a brother. And one thing I can say about Kenny is Kenny won't always be around, like physically, because he always doing his own thing. And shout out to you, Kenny, for becoming a father 2 times over. It's something you used to tell me that you wanted to do, so I'm very happy for you. Kenny won't always physically be around, but if you call Kenny or you text him, like, hey man, I'm doing something, can you support me? It won't be nobody there quicker. Kenny will support you, man, 100%. You could be selling crack. And Kenny, he might not get involved, but he will support you, like, hey man, I got your back. And I remember I told Kenny I was shutting it down, and he sent me an audio just like that, man. It ain't really take nothing. And I'll always appreciate him. He always have a special place in my heart, man. That's my boy. Yeah.
Desmond Bratton.
Alright, Desmond Bratton. So, the first time I seen Des in 20 years was last year. I hadn't seen Des since I was 13 years old. We went to the same middle school together, Booker T. Washington, in the middle of the hood. But mind you, me and Des weren't ever close, like ever. We had respect for one another. He was like way more popular. I won't say way more popular. He was a popular kid at the school because he was like good at everything. He was very bright. But yeah, we would see each other in the hallway, and we would play ball against each other. But we weren't ever close. We didn't hang out after school or nothing. But I think that mutual respect was always there because he kind of seen me like I kind of stood by myself. I mean, I had my friends, but I had his philosophy, like, if you ain't a man alone, you ain't a man at all. So I always kind of tried to stand on my own with things. And Des seen that. And Des was like, he knew everybody. And he had like his own little clique. And I'm not somebody who like get into groups and stuff like that. So he hit me up last year because I had been trying to get him on the podcast. I couldn't get him on, man. The timing wasn't right. But he was like, I'm going to be in Tampa. Let's just hang. Des ain't going to give too much away. But that night, we hung out like the whole night, man. And he drank the best alcohol. Like, expensive, but he drank the best alcohol. And his audio, I don't know what he was saying, but he was just, Des is an in the moment type of individual. He's somebody, he doesn't think about boundaries or anything. He just does what feels right to him at the time. And I think that's true love. So shout out to Des, man.
Me.
Oh, we're going to skip you till I get in the crib.
Murray Dawn.
Murray Dawn. So on Facebook or IG, he says his name is Murray Dawn. I call him E.T. So the first time I met E.T. So in the hood, we will always play basketball. Even if you ain't know how to play, you would be at the basketball court every day. Every day, it was always something going on up there. It was a party. We were playing ball, playing football in the field. Something all going on, right? So I used to play basketball, and we were up there playing one day, and somebody mentioned something about Madden. Some like video games were like popular to us, not like how they are now, kind of taking over the world. And everybody think they the best, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm the best at Madden. And E.T. said something like, you can come to my house right now and play. And I'm like, this is kind of confident. I'm like, all right, we can come. And he's like, no, you can come right now. That day, me and Sheldon, shout out to Sheldon, he incarcerated right now, walked to E.T.'s house. We started playing Madden. And E.T. blew both of us out. I'm like, man, fuck this, man. They ain't coming over here no more. And from there, it's kind of ironic I said that because I almost started living over there. So all of like my second half of my freshman year in high school and 10th grade year, I pretty much lived at E.T. house. His mama became my mom, his sister. Me and Ben were over there every day. I'm talking about school nights too. Because me and E.T. stayed in the same hood. So it wasn't like I was like, had to drive somewhere else. I used to just walk from my place to his place. And E.T., he put me up on a lot of hip-hop. I remember E.T. had like the classic CDs on his wall. When I would have girl problems, when I would have math problems, E.T.'s good in math. He would always help me out. And he just stayed laid back and chill like me. I ain't seen a more consistent person personality-wise. He's the same today as when I met him. Just real nonchalant, like whatever, like how I am. And another brother that watched over me, man, made sure nothing happened to me. So I love you, E.T., man. Thank you for the audio. You know we're gonna rise, man. Martin is the truth, man. He the truth. Shout out to Impact Global. I met Martin through Sarita, but we kind of like started talking on our own in a way. And he told me everything he wanted to do. I remember Impact Global. Watch the episode with me and Martin on my page. Haitian native, loves his country, and he has a passion for recycling and helping out the community. You hear a lot of people talk that that like non-profit talk. I want to help the community, but Martin's out there actually picking up the trash in the hood and educating people along the way. Impact Global was something that was simply on paper, and Martin manifested it into something that's real, that's actually going on and making an impact in the world. He a little too hard on himself, as I told him in the episode, but he the truth, man. Somebody who is a leader and somebody who is confident in his abilities to make change in a positive and constructive way. He's doing way more than me, to tell you that, because I'm not going to pick up trash like how he is. He's a different breed. He the truth, man. And I love him, man. And I'm looking forward to what else you got going, Martin. You know how it is, man.
Queen.
I believe God, in your lineage, your family lineage, I believe God will send somebody to either restore the lineage or to break the curse of what's going on if it's negative. He'll send like somebody, almost like an angel, to and not in a literal sense, but to kind of save the day. And God sent Queen for my family. Queen is the nucleus of my family. She holds the family together. If you have Queen's number, if you're connected with Queen, you pretty much connected to everybody because she know everybody. I think my highest view episode is with me and my baby sister Queen on the page. She is emotional. She is so intelligent. She's so caring and compassionate. I call her baby Jesus because she reminds me of Jesus a lot. Just about how loving she is towards everyone, even people she don't know. And she is the middle. She is the matriarch of our family. She's taught me a lot about how to be patient with people. And she's the second. Elisa's the most important person in my life, but Queen's the second most important person in my life. And you know, I get that from my mom. My mom always told me to make sure I take care of my sister. So Queen, I love you. I'm proud of you. Shout out to you and my nephew Elliot. Shout out to Cam. And keep being the example. You're setting a good example, because you know I'm not gonna always set the good example. So I love you. And if you ever need anything, you know, we coming. We coming.
Mama bear.
Mama, mama, mama. I'm gonna try not to talk about mama too much because I'm gonna start crying. My mom, I've been some of my mama's darkest moments I've been there for. I have not met a stronger person. I'm getting teary-eyed right now. My mom is, you know how like you can call somebody, like if you're going through something, you in a bind, I can call my mama. She gonna cuss me out, but she gonna help me, you know. We didn't always see eye to eye, and I think it's because we're more alike. So when you're alike, you kind of clash. Same attitude, no nonsense, won't put up with nobody's shit, and we'll correct you, you know, when need be. We don't just let stuff slide. And my mom always tried to push me to be the first person. Sometimes I think she pushed me a little too hard, but as I've gotten older, I understand why. She used to push me to be the one in the family to push everything to another level. And I remember I used to ask her, like, man, you like kind of too hard on me. And she was like, nah, you'll understand in the future. And I'm gonna be real, even about some of my family members watching this, man, nobody in my family's really done much like that. And my mom always wanted me and my sister to be the leaders. And my mom sacrificed a lot of her life to make sure that me and Queen became that. And her plan worked. As of right now, Queen is doing very well. You know, my grind don't stop. And Mom, I love you to death, you know. And I want to thank you so much for pushing me when I didn't think I could be pushed any harder or any further. You saved me a lot. And your son will be the first. I won't be the last, but I'll be the first in the family to do many things. And that a lot of that is I attribute that to you.
Trey.
So lastly, and I only say Trey for last because part of my transition and my surprise has a lot to do with Trey. So if you see me doing anything creative and there's a design involved or a logo, Trey did it. Yes, I pay him. You should pay him too. And tell you how I met Trey before we get out of here, and I'll let y'all in on the surprise, and Trey will narrate the surprise. When we were rapping back in like 06, 07, I was rapping in high school and stuff. I met Trey through Dream. Shout out to Dream. It's my other brother. Dream took me to Trey's house. They were staying in the same apartment complex. And I already knew something was off when I came to Trey's house and Trey introduced himself. Trey raps too. He introduced himself by his full government name. He was like, "What's up? I'm Trey Joseph." Like, I'm already thrown off. He's supposed to have like some type of killer name. I'm like, okay, whatever. He let me in his house, right? And you know, we started like rapping, started freestyling. And it's like, I feel like it's forever ago. And I started rapping first. I think I started rapping first. And I was nervous. I was like stumbling over my words. I had like a clean like 40 bars too. But I was stumbling over my words and I'm like, dang, I'm embarrassing myself in front of Trey. And there was some other people in the house. But Trey, another weird thing I should have picked up on, he was like, nah, man, that was good. He's just trying to boost my confidence. And then Trey, it was Trey's turn to rap. To this day, I haven't heard a better lyricist, man. Trey rapped so clean. It was so eloquent. He had so many different like metaphors and similes. Like, he rapped so clean in his voice projection. I'm like, this is the best nigga I've ever heard. In my mind, like, this is the best I ever heard. You know, that boosted me up. And from there, we formed a brotherhood. And from there, I used to start going to Trey's house and staying the night. And he would like help me with my writing. And, you know, somebody like Trey deserves everything, man. He's never quit on anything or anybody. He'll see things through to the end. And I love Trey, man. And he's like always been like a consistent beacon of light in my life, man. And for all of you, again, thank all my brothers for sending me an audio from this point forward. You got my number, hit me up. The Trey is going to take it from here and introduce my surprise. You'll enjoy it. And I love y'all. Stay safe, stay strong. Peace. Yeah, continuing on this, keep saying thank you to all the people who came on. Shout out to my big sister Vonda. Got her on one of the last episodes. Follow Oja's Talk. Vonda is like an inspiration, and she independent. You know, she do a lot on her own. We talk from time to time. She went through a lot, family-wise, mentally, with COVID. And we outside, so the noise, you're gonna hear some noise. We outside. I want to thank her for coming on so much, man, so much. And just in spite of what she's been through, she's still able to continue on and show face. When, you know, typically you wouldn't hear from me. Stuff that happened to her happened to me, you wouldn't hear from me. You're a very resilient person. Shout out to my homie Shannon. Shannon like a big sister to me. She came on the episode. I always value her opinion. She got a lot of crazy stories. But Shannon is unfiltered, and she lives by her own rules, man. She don't let society dictate what she should and shouldn't be doing, who she should and shouldn't date, how she should do stuff. She gonna do her own thing. And watch the episode with me and Shannon, man. And Shannon's single, y'all. Yeah. So if y'all see a white girl, just the white girl. She on the episode. She's single, man. I don't know if she looking, but I'm gonna say she looking, because she gonna cuss me out when she see this, but whatever. You know what I mean? Shout out to Kiara. Kiara be ducked off, low key. I didn't expect Kiara to get that vulnerable with me when she came on, but she opened up a lot about her first marriage and what she's doing now. I think she's working on her boutique again, because she opened it up. Man, she should have kept it going. But she another creative, but she's somebody who stayed to herself, man. She ain't with the foolishness or the drama. So I appreciate you for coming on, Kiara. Got a lot of love for you, like a sister. Shout out to my little sister that I found. Thank God sent me another sister, a crazy sister, Jaleesa. Jaleesa was on the episode with me, Joe, and Jonah. Jaleesa like a vault. I could tell Jaleesa anything nobody will ever know. My wife loved Jaleesa. Me and Jaleesa talk a lot all the time, and I'm blessed for her to be in my life, just as a real friend, man. Nothing extra, a real friend. And she gives me advice. She allows herself. I be getting mad at Jaleesa, dog, because Jaleesa know a lot. She know a lot, but she be holding it back. I don't like that, man. Jaleesa, cut it out. But I got a lot of love for you, Jaleesa, man. We need to hang soon. Shout out to another one of my big sisters, son Angel. She came on when we first started the Wave Report. Her and her sister Jacoby. Jacoby is a comedian. She a comedian. They both came on, gave us some real talk. I wish they would have continued their podcast, man. It was so good. They touched on so many topics. But you know, I'm ending my podcast, so what can I say? They had a good run. And we gotta hang out too, man, if y'all see this. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like all the people that came on. My sister-in-law, Asia, she came on twice. She actually came on more another time, but Joe ended up being late coming back from a battle when we had a round table. But for her to give her expertise on teaching and education, that meant a lot, especially during the pandemic, with everything that was going on. So I want to thank her for coming on, because she usually don't like getting on camera. Jasmine came on during the round table and spoke. Me and Jasmine got so much history. Y'all will be surprised. Me and Jasmine got a lot of history together. And I always got the utmost respect for Jasmine, because she gonna keep it real. She gonna keep it real. I'm talking about too real at times. So Jasmine, I love you, man. And I'll get with you soon. I know you're in a relationship right now. I'm gonna get with you soon, though. It's crazy my memory this bad, dog. Crazy my memory this bad. Oh, Jenny, you know I love you. You crazy, Jenny. Jenny, you got that heart. You got that heart, man. And a lot of people don't have that. But I appreciate that in you. I know you'll do anything for me. And I know one day, you know, you're gonna get married, you're gonna get everything that you desire. You know, that's my prayer. And I'll be there wilding out, probably drunk, it depends. But thank you for coming on and sharing something traumatic that happened to you. You know, I'll be hoping all these conversations spark more conversations. People can open up for one another. Amanda, via Alex. As stupid as Alex is, he be introducing me to great people. And Amanda just like came over, no frills, she wasn't scared, no fear. Not only did she talk about OnlyFans, but she talked about her life. She talked about her brother, her family, her upbringing, and everything. So thank you for coming on, Amanda. And keep being that positive light, man. She got a free-flowing spirit. I appreciate that. Am I forgetting somebody? I can't think. Diana came on. She's like, I'm gonna smoke. Diana's like, I'm gonna smoke. Whatever, I'm gonna smoke. Get it over with. She came on, man. Diana be ducked off too, man. She be disappearing and then reappearing and disappearing again. I guess that's like the social media diet. Anybody that I miss? Oh, LaDacia, my mama. LaDacia's like my mama, my sister. Worked with me at my job, taught me so much. She showed me who was real, who was fake. She came on with Rob, her boyfriend, soon to be husband. Shout out to both of y'all. I know I got a lot of love for y'all too. Daisha, I'm proud of you, man. You know, I know a lot. I know you've been through a lot, transitioning different jobs, and you got your wish. You got your wish. So I hope you're doing well. And anybody that I forgot, I apologize. My memory is that of like a baby marsupial or something. So I don't be remembering a lot. But yeah, that's all, man. On to the next. Tomorrow is uncertain. All we have is today. There are unforeseen challenges that lie ahead for us all, individually and collectively. We can persevere as we have before. I'm usually hesitant on using suggestive language about what anyone should do because our lives and intentions are all different. However, if we took a minute to realize the greatest gift that I believe we all have and use it as fuel to be more kind and understanding towards each other, everything would change. What is that gift, you ask? It's love. As a black man in America, I admit it's hard for me to love a country that has shown it doesn't love me back. Historically, we have been targeted and disposed of with little to no justice time and time again. Why people that look like me, though? Do we strike fear in a traditional patriarchal structure that has dominated society for a while now? I believe so. But we're so strong, bold, and confident that the system designed to oppress us has to keep figuring out new ways to do so. But we don't back down. Never have, never will. I thank you all for coming on, especially my wife for being my biggest supporter through everything I have endured. If it wasn't for her, not only would I not be the man I am today, but the podcast itself wouldn't exist. And to my brother Patrick, your genius, your dedication, your determination throughout the length of the podcast will truly be missed. You're like a brother I never had. I've seen you grow your own brand from scratch and learn something that you're passionate about. And to everybody else out there, just know that the spirit knows no time or distance. So wherever you are, I am as well. We're all merely reflections of one another, and we're all connected. If only we could realize that. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only merely transformed. So the ending is simply a new beginning.
Dr. Relford, God is calling you. It's time.